basic tools for sand sculpture, and again, this is the stuff that we use on professional jobs all over the world. Very simple. You have your big cement trowels, basically what they are. It's called a spreader. This is a big tool. It's used for doing large surfaces very fast. I like this one. It's very quick. You can move a lot of material and carve it down really fast. This, I believe, would be about a $30 tool. You can get as many tools or as little tools as you want. And they come in, of course, to different sizes. This is my favorite because it's a little bit smaller and a little bit easier to manage than this big guy. And it's a little bit wider. As you can see, we've used it quite a bit. We've actually started to round it down. This, again, another cement trowel. Same kind of thing. This is very good for doing architecture, a lot of buildings and whatnot. You can move down and carve down faces and make stairs and building eaves and cutting in windows and all that stuff, which we'll show you shortly. This is my favorite tool for basically sculpting. It's a 1.5 inch. This was square at one point, which shows you how much work it's been through. It's completely rounded out now. It's very sharp, so it carves really fast and really quickly. It's good for soft sculpture as well because of the fact that it's not square. Generally, the round tools on the end they're a little bit easier to use on animals and people and leaves and different kinds of foliage or whatever. Soft sculpture being tissue, plants, animals, anything like that. Architecture is more of the other square, blocky types of shapes, and so we generally divide them into two categories: soft sculpture and architecture. Square tools are obviously really conducive to the architectural stuff. This is a 3/4 inch. It's pretty stiff. And I think this is actually a cake decorating tool. So you have to kind of shop around to see if you can come up with one of these. If you want, you can write us and we'll tell you how to get a hold of these. And then you've got the smaller tools. These would be doing pupils and eyes, and these are a lot of just art tools and sculpting tools. It'd be similar stuff that they use for clay, ceramics, and that kind of thing. And then we also have dental tools that were used. These are used to do, again, the smaller details, small windows, irises, pupils, eyes, fine detail work. And loop tool, your basic loop tool from the ceramics and sculpting. This has been around a while. Had this for quite a while, actually. And a melon baller, I got this a while back, and this is just for making little round things. You can use that for maybe eyeballs or scooping things out, cutting, make nice little shapes. Anything you can think of. I mean, wherever you go, you start looking at things differently. Oh, could I use that for carving? You've got levels. These are very good for architecture. Torpedo level helps you make sure the tops of your roofs are level and straight. You're doing window eaves and whatnot, balconies. Helps you keep everything lined up and true. So you need a small one, ideally, and then the larger one, we got a 2-foot level. It's a little bit bigger. Allows you to make vertical walls, very flat and true, as well as horizontal walls. And you've got a 45 degree on here too for making stairs. The bright color is just identifying it as my tools because we've got a lot of different people working on projects. We need to know whose stuff is whose sometimes. Out of the kitchen comes the, I guess this is sort of a vegetable scooper. This is really good for scooping out large areas, round areas. Again, it's just more of a conducive to soft sculpture. And I guess it's your basic spoon. These things are, used, and as you're looking through your kitchen utensils, you can find things that are really helpful. So that's pretty much an overview. The hammer, of course, is used to put together the larger forms, and we'll demonstrate that here shortly as well. Okay, now, the next step up in terms of size and tools that we'll be using, and what you can use is, of course, the shovel, standard pointed shovel. Now, these have been used quite a bit, and you can see they're rusted, but no matter. It's not a problem for us. And we have a square-ended shovel. Sometimes that's good for doing flat surfaces and smoothing out bigger areas. Now, when you're doing sand sculpture, you can do it by hand. Let me show you. Simply, the technique is called hand patting, and all it is just what I think everybody already knows how to do. You just pile the sand up and begin to make something. Here's an example with Shane Burby and some of his friends, just piling the sand up using a shovel. And you want to keep the sand kind of moist. That helps it stick together a little bit better. And it's just using your hands, kind of patting it down and compressing the sand, kind of working on a little VW bug there. You can kind of see the shape starting to take shape. And all you do is just use your hands and kind of push the sand around. Get nice and dirty there. It's kind of fun. You can see Shane here sort of giving himself a reference as to where the hood of the VW's going to be. Kind of shaping it out there. You want to bear in mind this is the first time that they've ever done sand sculpture. And a gentleman came up, asked to borrow a bucket of water, and created this woman in the sand using just his hands. So there's many things you can make with just your hands only. Pretty neat little VW bug. Additionally, trash buckets or trash cans can be used. These are 5-gallon buckets. You can get these at restaurants a lot of times for free. Just go up and ask the cooks and restaurant owner what they do with their old buckets. They get a lot of condiments, pickles, and all that kind of thing in these buckets, and they just generally just throw them away, I think, or give them away. So these are really good. This one had the bottom cut out of it, as you can see, and we duct taped around the top to give it some strength. This we'll show you a little bit later is another one of the forms that you can use. You fill it up with sand and water, pull it off, and you'll have the block of sand to work with. This again is just a larger version of that. It's your basic trash can. And we just cut the bottom off, and you'll feel kind of strange when you buy a trash can and they cut the bottom of it off. It's kind of a strange feeling. You think you're ruining it, but what we're doing, it's ideal. And a step up is more of the heavy-duty janitorial supply type of a bucket. That's where you get a janitor supply store. And again, you cut the bottom out. And these are much sturdier. They're a little more expensive. I got this one for around 30 bucks or whatever. These are great though. They'll last forever. They're very strong. The buckets that you use just to get your water are, again, the 5-gallon buckets. I got these from a flower shop, and they weren't using them anymore. So you use these to get water from the ocean if you're at the beach, or you can just use a hose, of course, if you're near a hose. The next technique is the volcano technique. And basically what that is all about is making sort of a donut. And this is used as a foundation on very large projects, as well as if you want to do a smaller sculpture, a more low level, but you want the sand to be really strong. The whole trick to sand sculpture is getting the sand packed and condensed and getting much of the air out of it. So what I'm doing on a very small scale here, just to demonstrate, making a donut. And inside which we will put water. And that will begin to condense the sand. Okay, now, showed you a little bit of the hand patty technique, the volcano technique, buckets and the trash bucket forms that you can use. So let's go get some water. Okay. Now you can go right in with your shoes, which many times we do, especially in competitions. This is the fun part, you get to get your feet wet. Okay, here we go. my white feet. Gotta get some sun on my feet. Okay, now we're off to the ocean. Now there's a trick to getting water. Kind of work with the flow of the water. All right. Back to the volcano here we got. You go ahead and you put the water in there. You kind of walk around a little bit, tamp it down with your feet. The whole trick is getting the sand dense and packed. And that really is the part that makes it magic and gives you the ability to make these extreme shapes. Once you get that filled up, add a little more sand. Keep that berm getting built up, the donut. Just continue the process all the way around. Add a little more water. All right, let's take a look at some examples of the volcano technique. We'll go to Bluebeard's Castle, which was in Florida back in 1985. Notice the volcano technique when it's applied in some of the images. We'll show you with that to give you an idea of how big of a scale you can do with the volcano technique, and the forms that we use there. You can use metal forms, wood forms like here. These are very simple forms, and that should give you a good idea of what they're all about. Treasure Island, Florida, 1985. We arrived to find one of the most enormous piles of sand we'd ever seen before. 19,000 tons. You can see here they're preparing the bases where the forms are going to go on top using the volcano technique we just showed you. The project took about 17 days to complete. There was about 14 professionals and over 1,000 volunteers. Was announced by the mayor of Treasure Island, a brand new world record, 37 feet tall. Bluebeard's Castle, 1985.